Once upon a time, there was a Russian girl who went to America, lived happily ever after, and became sauerkraut royalty. I grew up in Moscow in the Russian equivalent of an upper middle class family. My mother was a writer, my father was an architect and a painter. This is my first fur, by no means the last. By the age of 25, I knew that it was not for me to live and reproduce in captivity. I came to New York in 1981 with a master's degree in linguistics, speaking 4 languages, and wearing not tattered clothes and a babushka, but another fur coat and a pair of fry boots. Everybody thought I was a spy. But I was not a spy. I was a typical Eastern European pretty woman, so I did a typical thing and married an investment banker. Untypically, I had 3 children. Where I come from, we have 1 child and 3 husbands. So everyone was scandalized and thought it was very pedestrian of me. Another weird thing, when I turned 50, I started playing drums with a Scuola de Samba boom. At the time, I was living in West Hampton, and I sold real estate like all the other girls in town. I needed an outlet, and whacking something big and hard was just a ticket. About 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I refused the meds pushed on me by the good doctor and reversed it in 3 months by eating ungodly amounts of green food. So Russia or America, I do not blindly trust authority. When my last kid went to college, I went back to school myself and became certified as a holistic health coach. I knew then that I wanted to tell as many people as possible about alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. I was looking for a soapbox to start preaching what I felt was social disobedience. I started giving health-themed workshops at the gorgeous kitchen at the Hayground School. They included green smoothie, kitchen beauty on how to create homemade skin products, my trademark, the non-diet, it's a weight loss method, and everyone's favorite, 50 Shades of Kale. Now that's sexy. One of the best things you can do for your health is to eat a variety of fermented foods. The probiotic bacteria in them improve digestion, give a boost to the immune system, help lower your blood sugar and cholesterol. So I started giving workshops on fermentation and teaching a very simple way to make kombucha and sauerkraut. It was by far my most popular workshop, and still is. As I read up on fermentation to prepare for my classes, I became completely hooked with the process and started fermenting everything and every way. Raw milk, honey ferments, mead, and kvass. My kitchen was and still is like a chemistry lab. And what I learn, I right away teach. So now my workshops on fermentation go over 2 days. Of all the fermented foods, sauerkraut stands apart as a true miracle superfood. The sugars in raw cabbage make it a perfect food for the widest range of probiotic bacteria. And the fiber in cabbage is an ideal prebiotic, which is food for the good bacteria that are already in your gut. And sauerkraut has 17 times more vitamin C than orange juice. So at the workshop, people were tasting my kraut and kept telling me that I have to start making it commercially. Then the word spread and the stores started calling and promising to carry it. I found a commercial kitchen in Calverton Incubator, dealt with a staggering amount of red tape, and started figuring out how to scale my production. And so there was a question of packaging. I called the company Hamptons brine because brine is salt water used in fermentation, and the Hampton brines is the ocean. My friend Lina Yeremenko made this logo, a cabbage looking, if not smelling like a rose, in a bullseye. Well, bullseye worked for Target. And for the background, I wanted super bright, happy cabbage. My designer told me that we have to find and buy a stock photo. Oops. But being cheap as I am, I went to King Cullen, Bridgehampton, arranged the cabbages in a bin, took a photo with my iPhone, and put it through the chrome filter. And voila, there it was, ready for sale last April. I bottled the kvass, which is brine left after fermentation. It was widely used in Russia as a hangover remedy, among other things. I didn't think anybody but a couple of yoga girls will buy it or even know what it is, but it now accounts for 65% of my sales. I took my crowd to the farmers markets. I'm sure that my overeducated ancestors are spinning in their graves like propellers at the sight of me in an apron and a do-rag, dishing out sauerkraut. But I loved it. Who knew that not only the yoga girls, but even truck drivers know now about benefits of probiotics? And they loved my crowd. They came back every week and told me how they are addicted to the taste and how much better they poop. The most surprising accounts were about the kvass helping chemotherapy patients with nausea. Yet 2 New York City oncologists now recommend my products to their patients. Last summer, my biggest challenge was to produce enough. It takes 4 weeks for sauerkraut to ferment, and there was no way I could anticipate the demand 4 weeks in advance. I doubled my production, then doubled it again, and still sold every crumb I made. People held up in traffic started calling farmers markets managers to ask me to put their weekly fix aside for them. After the farmers market closed last fall, I had time and energy and finally inventory to start marketing to stores. This is where we sell. And we also sell online. And just last week, I won the Edible East End Local Hero Award, which is a serious achievement for a Russian party girl. If this isn't an American dream, I don't know what is. This is my current line. I added kraut and kale. You know how I feel about kale. Now Hampton Brine faces 2 challenges. One, I need to get my product certified organic. In a shared facility kitchen where non-organic products are also made, it is a logistical and financial nightmare. And we also need a small delivery van with a refrigeration unit. We are small, we do everything by hand, so our costs are high, and we cannot afford to pay a distributor, so we're running all our deliveries ourselves. So please support my Kickstarter campaign that went live today, and help me spread the good bacteria in the Hamptons and beyond.